my name is Terri Clark. I'm a registered dietitian at Mercy Medical Center.
Hi, and I'm Andy Deutmeyer, Executive Chef for Mercy Medical Center. And today we're going to be making a pureed butternut squash soup.
So just a little nutritional information on winter squashes, which includes the butternut squash and also pumpkin and acorn squash and the winter squash family. They're a good source of vitamin A. They also have some good B vitamins in them, good source of fiber, potassium. So it's a really good food all around. Studies have shown that winter squash also can have a protective effect on things such as cancers and diabetes and heart disease. So you might want to have some winter squash this winter.
All right, to make a pureed butternut squash soup. Simple, you're going to love this. It's quick preparation. The longest thing it's going to take you is to let it cook. So we need a pan, we need some squash, we need our trusty carrot, celery, onion, because they go everywhere, because they add so much flavor and aromatics to everything. And I also have a sweet potato. If you don't have a sweet potato, any russet potato or starchy potato like a Yukon Gold potato will work just fine. I like sweet potato for this application because it's sweet and the color works well for our end product. So to make this soup, we need to we're not going to be pretty about this because in the end it's all going to be pureed up, so we're not going to care about what our cuts look like or shapes. We just want to dice it up so it cooks. And the reason for adding potato is it helps thicken it up. It gives it a nice creamy consistency because of the starch in the potato. So it's beneficial for that reason. That's the main purpose for putting in there, because it helps tighten up the soup to a nice consistency, and it helps give a little bit of richness. Okay, that is essentially it. Okay. We're going to do some bay leaves in there, which we will pull out. You could put them in a sachet or some cheesecloth or something to make it easier to pull out. Or if you want to hunt for them later, that's fine too. I got some garlic. That's going in there. I'm going to season it with just a little bit of salt. And I need some water. You don't need to be terribly picky about the amount of water you're going to put in here, because when it comes time to pureeing it, we're going to show you how we're going to control that. So we're just going to bring that up to a boil. And you're going to probably want to boil this for a good hour. You want everything to be really, really nice and tender. That's going to give it the potential to make a really nice, smooth, velvety, creamy puree. It's going to have that kind of luxury mouthfeel because it's going to be such a nice, smooth puree. Okay, so our squash mixture has been boiling for some time now. We can take a look at some of our things. You can see our squash is just ready to mush. So that's going to puree really, really nicely. You make sure all your vegetables are really nice and tender. So that's there. Now we're going to add a little bit of cream to this towards the end. And the reason why we add that now is cream will break when you boil it. So we want to let that aggressive part of the cooking process end, and then we're going to add a little bit of cream. And if you don't want to use cream, because cream can be a little on the fatty side, you could do half and half, or you could just do standard milk, like a 2% milk or whole milk, because that will help us give us that nice creamy feel as well. And just enough to kind of, it's going to give us a nice creamy feel. So this is what it's looking before we're going to puree it. We'll get out our handy blender here. And this is where you can control, if you had a lot of water when you started, this is the nice part. You can kind of control how much liquid you're going to add by taking more chunks and less liquid. And the nice thing is you can save this liquid, so if your soup is a little too thick, a little too tight, you can add a little bit more liquid back in and puree that in to find that consistency that you want. If you want a really nice tight soup, you can do that. If you want to have a nice thin type of puree, you can do that as well. So you kind of can control the thickness of your soup as we're going here. So say I've got this excess liquid, this is too thick, I can add some more. Now, pureeing hot liquids. This is important, so listen close. Anytime you're going to do hot liquids in a blender, there is a potential for an explosion. So, things you need to remember. The blender should only be no more than half full. There's always this little stopper in your lids typically. Pull that out. Put your lid on there. Take a towel and then cover it. This will give it some room, some of that hot air room to expand. That's on there. That hot air, once you turn this thing on, and that hot air expands, I have seen it blow the lid off these things on the ceiling. I've seen people end up with some really hot, thick liquids on their face, and they're going to the hospital. So, always, always, no more than half full. Give it some air gap here. If your thing doesn't have one, kind of tilt it a little bit. Use your towel, because it will come up to here. So keep it from hitting your hand directly. If your blender has a low speed, always start on low. Anytime you can avoid starting on high is great. Start low. Now it's had a chance to kind of get some air in there and get moving. Now we can bring the temperature or the speed up. And when you're pureeing, don't be afraid to let it spin for a while. That's just going to help make a nice, smoother puree. The smoother the puree, the better the end quality product you're going to have. So we have that's about a perfect consistency. It is absolutely perfectly smooth. But the nice thing is this was just a really basic recipe. If you wanted to mix it up a little bit and alter the flavor a little bit, if you wanted to add some cumin in there, make a little bit of a southwestern feel to it. If you wanted to add curry powder goes great with squash. I love it. Wherever you want to take it, whatever spices you want to throw in there, you can take it there. Let's see if we can find a bowl. And so here we can see we have just this really nice consistency of a soup. Excellent. You can finish that with a little cracked pepper, a little salt, a little fresh herb over the top, on top of it as well. And we have a nice butternut squash soup.